we have Justin Brazil.
All right.
Good evening. All right, I got 7 minutes to tell you about something that took me 30 years to live. Start off when I was 8 years old. 8 years old, a young man moved into the apartments where we stayed. He moved cat a corner from me. And that time, we were cool. We got to know each other. But something changed. The school put me into special needs classes. It said I didn't learn the same, so I started to get picked on. Well, this young man took special attention to me. He ended up bullying me. What ultimately ended up with him one day breaking into the maintenance shed of the apartments where we stayed, and he stole a can of gasoline. When he stole that can of gasoline, he took it to our clubhouse, as we called it. It was in some woods near Winchester and Tullahoma. When he took it there, a couple of days later, it was a week after my last day of school, my 4th grade year, we went to that lake. We was out there fishing. The young man called us into the woods, and I was talking to my friend. I had my back turned to him. He called my name. I didn't turn around. That's when they said he poured the can of gasoline into a Cool Whip bowl. When he called my name again, he lit it. The next time I turned around when he called my name, and that's when he picked it up and he threw it on me. I was burned over 53% of my body. For the next couple of years, I was not able to go outside. I had to go through 63 surgeries. Sitting in my room, I only had time to watch TV and read comic books. And any of you know, if you've read comic books before, you've seen when something tragic happens, that's when you develop your superpower. In that room that day, I didn't know it, but something developed in me. And also, when I was watching TV, I saw a commercial that said, "Be all that you can be." And I said, I wanted to do that. So I went off and found out what I needed to do to join the military, the requirements. And I started. At the age of 12, I started doing one push-up. I couldn't do it. I could barely walk. I didn't have full function of my body at all, but I got up and tried. But fate happens. One day, I walked into the military station here, and they said, "We're going to take you to Little Rock. They're a little bit lenient." So I went. Ended up being on the day that changed my life and the United States' life. Everybody in the United States. Ended up being on September 11, 2001. That morning when the attacks were happening, I was signing my name on a contract. And in that time, I had to make a decision, something that I worked hard for every single day from the age of 12. I remember I told myself when I was going to be able to go outside, I was going to see as much as possible, so I had a choice. Go to war or stay in Memphis. I ended up going to war. Went to boot camp Halloween night 2001. Right after that, I was assigned to my command that was part of the first strike. I did 3 deployments in the 3 deployments. And it was different. It wasn't like being home. I was in a hostile environment. My jobs that I picked up in the military, when I first started, I worked on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier, USS Carl Vinson. I remember sitting there crying, looking at fire. I had to conquer that fear, though. So I decided I got bored with that, and I struck out wanting the weapons. I was like, this will do it. This will end my fear of anything. So I became a TM. I built missiles, bombs, torpedoes. I was a small arms weapons instructor. I helped train over 4,000 military personnel, and they all came home. I'm proud of that. So when I come home, after those 3 deployments, I was a little different. I decided I wanted to go to school. First day of school, I went to Tennessee Tech. I worked great with my hands. I was like, I'm gonna be a welder. First day of school, I step into class, and the teacher set us up in this classroom and said, "Tell us a little bit about yourselves." I sat in the far right corner. I wasn't too social. And about the 3rd person that stood up and started telling them more and more about themselves, I seen a face that I knew. there was this young man that I would never forget. I was sitting in the classroom with a man that almost killed me when I was 10 years old. But I'm a little bit different now. I'm 290 pounds. I go to the gym 7 days a week. This young man still looked like a teenager. So I stood up after he got done and I said, I went to the front of the classroom and I looked at everybody. I said, I'm next. And I looked at him and I went through my military training record. Told everything that I've done in the service. I made the room uncomfortable and the teacher dismissed us. And the teacher grabbed me and said, Justin, and I'm steady trying to walk out. He said, Justin, I'm focused. It's only one person I see. He said, don't do anything stupid. I just looked at him and I walked out. I would head towards out. I started looking for him. I found him at the cafeteria. And I walked up to him. I said, do you know who I am? And the young man said, no. He had a look of fear in his face. And I asked him again. I said, do you know who I am? He said, no. And then I pulled up my sleeve and I showed him the scars on my arm. And by that time, a bunch of people started coming around, and he wanted to save his pride. He said, you did that to yourself. And I said, okay. I turned around and I walked off. I started going towards my car. I turned back and looked one last time, and the people that were around him dispersed. I went to my car, grabbed an M16, a 9mm, and a few other things, just for him, something that I wanted to do my whole life. But as I was walking, it was like a gust of wind stopped me. It gave me time enough to think. Best decision I ever made. From that point, I had to forgive the young man. Some things that happened to me in my life, I had to realize that people play a part in your life, even if they do good or bad to you. He just played his part. He pushed me to the point where I was able to touch every continent on this planet, except for one, Antarctica. I'm gonna do that next year. But I have friends all over the world. I'm a mentor. I mentor young men here in Memphis. I'm a speaker. So what I want to tell you now is, just start on your one push-up. No matter what it is. If you have something in your heart, go out and do it. I'm proof that it can be done. My name is Justin Brazil. Thank you.